Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope everybody is well. I have a topic that I want to talk about, and it is a Sunday Law update topic. I'm going to start it off with Dr. O's talking about the nationwide campaign in Germany to monitor or do digital surveillance of who's actually observing their Sunday day of rest. I say their Sunday day of rest because if you are true Israel or you're a believer, or I'm just going to say a believer because Christians worship on Sunday. And so I can't say Christians are believers or they don't keep the Sabbath, which is really the mark of the beast. So you're seeing them transition, or when I say them, I mean the powers who are working for Rome, the Pope. You're seeing the powers do the bidding in states or nations all across the country to position position communities and states and nations so that they're ready for a national day of rest. So it could be by writing op-eds. It could be by proposing national legislation, which has been done in a whole lot of places already. In Germany, national legislation was implemented a while ago, and I'm going to share that with you today. But I think that Germany is going to be a model for the entire world to do a climate agenda day of rest. Now, before I go into this as well, I need to let you know I'm going to have to do another video. Internet censorship started last week. I just found out about it, but there are going to be some things that I'm not able to talk to you about on YouTube anymore because YouTube is a product of Google, and Google is in charge of doing global censorship for the entire world on behalf of the people in Davos and them sustainable development goals people, those people. So I'm going to do a lead into the video when I do the next one, but it will be on Rumble. You have to go watch it. It is going to be vitally important that you watch it because here going forward, you're going to see limited information about the UN, about WEF, about WHO, about the treaties, about all these different things. You're getting ready to start seeing channels blocked. You're getting ready to not get notifications. All those independent, free thinking rebels who, risk their sanity, privacy, and lives to share truth are going to be hidden or taken down altogether because now Google has the authority to do that. So you have to treasure these pieces of information when you get them. You have to watch them when you see them because they could disappear. You must record information. When I put descriptions in the links, you need to grab them. I'm going to do another video on alternative search engines that you can use that will provide you with more information than Google and even DuckDuckGo. I'm sorry about that. Somebody just drove by in a lab truck. But you gotta understand the times that we are living in. It's getting ready to be wicked. And I can't express to you enough, this stuff is being fast tracked. I've been warning you about internet cleansing. I've been warning you about grid down, cyber pandemic, what stuff is getting ready to start happening. So I don't have much time to waste on nonsense, and I will not, because that's not what my platform is about. But I really wanna challenge you to be diligent in your research, to be about your business of learning, because they are getting ready to take away this easy way to get information and knowledge away from us. Those of us who are awakened, if you were able to gather over the last, however many years, good on you. But the rest of these dull lights that are out here not trying to seek information, not trying to know anything, those people are going to be out of luck, because all you're going to get is whatever the messaging is that they want us to have, and you won't have anything else. So I want to put that out there. I'm going to say this stuff. I don't know how long it's going to be here. I'm going to try to put it on other platforms. You'll be able to find the content, just not using your traditional methods. So you're going to have to really be, almost like a thief. You're going to have to steal information. You're going to have to steal knowledge. You're going to have to be diligent and pursuing. You don't have to want to know the truth, and you're going to have to seek the truth. Most importantly, y'all need to get into your word. Memorize that word. Hope you got old Bibles at home, because that's going to be your saving grace when everything goes down, when stuff starts happening, when people start acting crazy. You need to be rooted in your word. You need to look up, because that's going to be the only place you can look. That's the only place our help is going to be coming from. There's about to be, we're at the point where there's no more goodness on this earth. The people are getting wicked and evil. The governments are getting wicked. They're gone. They're evil. They're working for the adversary, period. If you're focused on anything except for leaving this place, I don't know what to say for you. You should not have any energy vested in staying here. And when I say here, I mean on this earth. You should just be ready to leave. Whether leaving is going to the wilderness and wherever that is, or leaving and being caught up and leaving and doing, you need to be there. That's where it's time to be, because there's no way out for us now. The next couple of videos that I got are not good. That's all I can say. It's just not good. And so I don't know what else to say except for it's not good. Just it's not good. And you have to be comfortable in that. I'm fine with things in the world not being good. I'm not afraid. I understand what's coming. I have faith. I understand that, you know, this time had been prophesied a long time ago. I am ordained to live during this time, and I'm trying to be creative as possible to try to wake people up. Now, I was not really wanting to do these messages this week, and I've been putting them off, in part because I've been working my real job that pays bills, but also just because it's been so heavy on me. I have not been able to sleep. I've really been tired. I just don't get rest. And I know a lot of people who are awakened spiritually and who are out here trying to sound the alarm. They're tired. There are always more people who need the information than workers willing to give the information, or watchmen, or teachers, or prophets, shepherds. So just understand that these updates are going to get fewer and fewer, not because we're not making them, but because Google is going to make it so that you cannot find them. And I need you to understand, just get in your spirit, that we're getting closer to the end. I don't know why folks thinking they're going to be able to make it till 2030. These people are not planning on implementing this stuff in 2030. They're implementing it now. And it's happening slow, it's gradual, and it's happening so slow. Most people just, that's one reason people think, oh, it's not going to happen until this time. No, this is not how governments work. They do pilot projects and research, and try to figure out how they can get a critical mass of people to take on something or support it or participate in it so they can roll it out the way that they want to. So you're in a movie or you're on a chessboard, you're just a pawn. You're not moving yourself, somebody else is moving you. So you have to take control of your mind and make sure you are using your energy, your time to learn as much as you can, to pray and ask for spiritual discernment as much as you can, to repent, and to just make peace with what is getting ready to come on this earth, because it's getting ready to be crazy. All right, so let's get into Dr. O's first video. Well, this is the only video he has, but I want to share with you what he introduced, which led me to do my research. So let's get into it.
This is surveillance, brothers and sisters. That's right, I said wow too. Is the Sunday law right around the corner? You know what? And I see more people coming on. We're going to put this thing back up. See, Ellen White says that there could be laws against Sunday labor. And I want you to look at this right here. Now, we're going to read the rest of this tomorrow at State Line. So I cannot let this out of the bag. You understand this? I can't let it out of the... Okay, I can't let this out of the bag. But listen what it says here. And what's this I? I don't know what that's about. But it's called an I. I can't read German. But listen, it says, first nationwide campaign to monitor Sunday rest. And this is a surveillance campaign. It's over, brothers and sisters. This is what God told us was going to happen. And I'm just going to let you see that. First nationwide campaign to monitor Sunday rest. Brothers and sisters, this thing is real. This is real. And they don't know why they're doing it. But just like the China social credit system started off in one country, and now you have copycats of that worldwide. And just because you may not hear it, it does not mean that it's not in existence right now. Do you understand this, right? This is very real. 7-day events with all of AI, artificial intelligence, and brothers and sisters, all this lets me know that the world's history is getting ready to close. And guess what? We're going to talk about this tomorrow. This came out last month. Blue Laws, Religious Observance, and Health Outcomes. And this is from July of 2023, which is last.
So this led me on this journey. I couldn't find this site that Pastor O was talking about, and I will put a link to this description if you don't watch this whole video. And I think I've shared State Line's information before, but I will include this video in the description. I love Pastor O. They do a really good job of teaching end time prophecy and present truth. So does Prophecy Again TV. If you don't watch Prophecy Again TV, pretty much every day they do an update, and it's always something new. And they also repeat, a lot of the things that we need to know so that you can be aware of what's happening. I like those two channels in particular because they cover the globe. A lot of the things that we see here are from a very white, Gentile, Christian perspective. And so just because how my mind works, I need more. And so I don't get me wrong, I watch a lot of different types of people. Another person that I'm going to turn you on to is JD Farag, and I will put his info in the in the description as well. He does a beautiful job of doing end time prophecy, and I like him because he provides receipts. He gives you a list of the citations that he uses, but he has his own website. And he has his own website because YouTube has started censoring. And the things that he shares are real-time info. They're from sites that are not always able to be found using Google. And they go against the narrative that the three-letter organizations that we talked about all the time this year, who are part of the, new thingy that's coming online, they are at the helm or controlling the internet censorship. So because a lot of the things that he talks about is tied to end time prophecy, just like Pastor O and a lot of others, they do an intro and then they'll take you off onto their own site. JD Farag, he'll take you to his own site. So if these people go away, if you stop getting notifications from them or me, I don't have a website. I'm not doing a website anymore. I've been getting censored, for years now. So I'm over it. I just understand the time is near the end. And because I've been doing it for so long and been censored for so long and been seeing the gradual change, I'm not interested in continuing to fight for so few people to see and to be controlled. I guess, I don't know. I just don't see the purpose. I'd rather spend my time working locally in my community trying to wake people up. And so that's where I've decided to do my focus. Um, Even if it's nothing but Bible studies and just waking up people and telling them who we are, telling them what's coming, because sometimes, present truth is the inroad to explaining why things are happening and, talking about who we are. So, with that said, Germany has Sunday laws that prohibit them from doing a lot of stuff. So I wanted to share with you a couple of different sites that I found. So this first site is Housing Anywhere. And it was written December 13th, but I don't know what year, it didn't say. So I can't really share that with you. But it was just really interesting. So Germany has quiet hours. So it says quiet hours in Germany set the tone in neighborhoods for when to tone down the noise and give neighborhoods some peace of mind. Now, this makes me think about smart cities and smart communities because that's what they're going to be all about. So it'll be like living in a hotel. You go, you can get up and move about when they say, and at a certain hours, you expect it to be quiet, although most people won't adhere to that. But in smart cities, you're going to have neighbors that are going to tell on each other. And that's kind of what this article and a couple of articles that I read basically say. It's where neighbors can report you. And so the police, they won't need that many police because they're training neighbors to tell on themselves. Neighbors are becoming the police or will become the police. In Germany, neighbors are the police already. So in America, it won't be no problem because white people love to be the police. And so white people are going to tell on you. In the black communities, I don't know what's going to happen. Um, it's going to be interesting. If there's some reward, I can see a lot of people telling on each other because there's going to be scarcity, there's going to be rationing, there's going to be lack. And so if there's an opportunity that's going to be created, that's what's being created now. So there's going to be an opportunity for people to earn biscuits to raccoon for the system. And you always going to have some raccoons in our community. So I don't anticipate there'll be any shortages of people willing to tell on you. But anyway, let me get back to this story. Obviously, that doesn't translate into you sitting stone silent in your flat during quiet hours in Germany and tiptoeing quietly into your rooms. Now, what do you need to know about quiet hours in Germany? More so, when do quiet hours start and stop in Germany? That's a promise. With our tips, you won't run into any angry neighbor on your doorstep on Sunday. So you see where it's leading. Okay, so when are the quiet hours in Germany? So when it comes to Sundays and public holidays, Germans set more store than ever by quiet hours. This is when you should stick to an all day rest. which is equivalent of a Sabbath. During the week and on Saturdays, the actual Sabbath, well, I won't say actual Sabbath. We already had this discussion about Sabbath. But anyway, I wouldn't do nothing Rome told me to do. And so since we know that they want you to do Sunday, you must know that the day that they don't want you to rest gotta be the day that they want you to, that the day is the day that you should rest. So I said all that to say, we are all discombobulated when it comes to Sabbath and when it is and so on. But whatever they tell you to do, don't do that. Okay? They say go left, you go right. They say eat that, you don't eat that, eat this. They say drink that, you drink your own stuff. They say take this, no, don't do that. You take that. That's what we're doing. So the fact that they're saying do it on Sunday, and they're associating it with rest, and trying to keep religion out of it. So they have two roads that they're taking. They're taking an atheist road, or a non-traditional road, to accommodate people who are not religious, or who are spiritual. Because when you start talking about a day of rest in church and this and that in religion, people who are not religious are going to be like, oh, well, they ain't talking about me. I can do whatever I want to do. So they have to do the rest piece so that people who are not religious, or who don't believe in the Bible, who don't observe Sabbath, who don't go to church on Sunday, who are just spiritual, and they may engage in some other meditation or yoga, whatever people do, or to accommodate all the religions, they'll say it's a day of rest. But they're also going to monitor whether you rest on Sunday versus Saturday. So you ain't getting out of this. Again, everybody's going to have to make a choice, and you will be snitched on by your digital devices and your neighbors. So if you're not ready to leave this earth yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. If you holding on to treasures and worried about your house and your car and all this nonsense, I don't know what's wrong with you. You're not going to be able to stay on this earth. You're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you do all these things that go against the word of the Most High. So if you're a believer, it's time to be ready to leave here. And it's time to be prepared for persecution, because the time to make choices is coming fast. All right. Yep, it seems that in Germany, just about everything is laid down in law. And with a bit of bad luck, you'll have a hobby policeman as a neighbor who closely monitors people's behavior during quiet hours in Germany. See, that's what we're talking about. This neighbor's going to be the police. Your new home base is in Munich. Well, lucky you. In Bavaria, thanks to the Bavarian beer garden ordinance, quiet hours vary from those in the other federal states. Instead of normal quiet hours across Germany from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., in Bavaria, it's all pushed back by 1 hour. The beer is poured until 10:30 p.m., which is on Saturday, which means that quiet hours begin at 11 p.m., which is almost midnight, and end at 7 a.m. Here's what quiet hours in Germany mean for you. Do I really have to sit stone silent in my flat after 10 p.m. watching Netflix with headphones on, or whispering to my flatmates? Don't worry, it's really not that hard. So in quotations, it has just stick to the rule of thumb of keeping your noise at room volume. Do you want to get into more detail? All right, here's a list of must-dos during quiet hours in Germany. So pay attention to this list. Obviously, you can still soak up the sun on your balcony at home at your house. That means don't you move on a summer Sunday. Just keep the conversations in the garden or balcony at a lower volume. So you got to be quiet and stay home. Can't turn up. It's no parties. There's no parties. Oh yes, we all love listening to the latest tunes from the new Music Friday list on Spotify at full volume. However, turn the music down a bit after 10 p.m. so it can't be heard in the next flat. Found your flute again, rediscover your talent until 10 p.m. and continue at 6 a.m. In the meantime, you have to find a more quiet hobby other than the flute or the drums. So, really, what they're saying is Saturday night, you have to be quiet from 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. But then that begins the day of rest. So, really, it's like 24 hours of rest. But it begins on Saturday night, like the Sabbath, almost. You finally managed to buy shelves for your wall you've always wanted. You can't do any noisy work in the house or garden after 10 p.m. So wait until the next day to hang them up. And now the bad news. Saturdays are treated as working days and therefore have the same quiet hours in Germany as normal working days. What happens to your house party for your birthday then? Of course, you can still throw a house party now and then without your guest being kicked at out of the house at 10 p.m. sharp. So what they're saying is now you can have a party, but all your stuff that you used to do on Saturday is just a regular day. Pro tip to keep the house spirit up and not have the police as party crasher is best to put a note on your neighbor's flat doors or a message in the hallway and let your neighbors know a few days in advance that you're having a house party. And you can invite them too. Listen, add your mobile phone number so your neighbors can text you on WhatsApp if it gets too loud. Police. Your neighbors are going to be your police. Do you understand what I'm saying? Police. I know people like it's not police. It's not police. It's police. Black people say police. We say police. It your neighbors are going to be your police. And your phone is required for the participating in all of the activities. See that, right? Okay. That's why you're going to have to get rid of your stuff and just be like we were back in the days. Like when we were in the 80s, you had a house telephone. Nowadays, you don't even need a telephone. Just let people come to you. Um, I'm just serious about it. You're going to have to get rid of your technology. You're going to have to ditch everything. You're going to have to stop watching TV unless you got an old analog TV. You're going to have to get rid of all your digital stuff. If you do not, it is going to tell on you. When is the Germany Sunday law? I'm sorry, when is the German Sunday law? It's Sunday. On Sundays, you can finally catch up on all the things that you usually get, or that usually get left undone during the week. You can spruce up the flat and clean every corner, hang up the new wall shelf, throw the mountain of laundry into the washing machine if there wasn't one problem. The German Sunday law and its quiet hours in Germany. Yes, Sundays are truly ho- are I'm sorry. Yes, Sundays truly are holy days of rest of Germans. So they're saying that their Sundays are holy days of rest for Germans, where only a handful of necessary jobs get tackled, where restaurants, cafes, galleries, and museums stay open. The situation here looks different for supermarkets, though. On Sundays, supermarkets keep their doors closed. So you see, everything is about money. You can't go to the store and buy nothing that you need essential for your house, but you can go to a restaurant and sit down and eat and pay for a meal where the government gets tax money revenue from that. They get, the little tax that you pay that's added to your bill. Then the employers pay payroll taxes. The businesses pay business license fees, and probably going to be some special something associated with being open on Sunday. Cafes, galleries, museums, they're all going to stay open. Everything that they can make money off of and that can cause you to go out and spend money and make you feel like you've done something because you're in this 15-minute city, or you are basically controlled. Every aspect of your life is controlled. So you're going to feel like you're doing something special by going out to a restaurant or going to a museum or a cafe, but you can't go to the grocery store. This is why you need to have stuff on your property that you can control. You can go outside in your garden and pick your vegetables and cook your dinner on Sunday or whatever day you want to go to the store. If you observe Sabbath, it's just it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot, and this is just one story. Therefore, emergency supermarkets at main stations. So it's like you're gonna be able to go to the gas station and pick up whatever's in there, but you're not gonna be able to go grocery shop on Sunday. And people who observe Sabbath, this is going to hurt them. So that means that you have to do everything that you need to do on Friday. Hopefully, we won't be here, but if we're here, you can see where this is going. And since everyone is at home taking their day off, Sundays are actually protected from the noise coming from neighbors. Keep your noise down to room volume all day on Sundays. Am I allowed to vacuum on Sunday? Of course. You can do a quick cleaning session of the kitchen floor, get rid of fallen bread crumbs or shattered glass on a Sunday, just as you can hammer a picture on your wall. As a rule of thumb, just don't be noisy for very long. You can run the vacuum for 20 minutes, not necessarily for hours. Truth be told, the modern Hoovers in particular, the volume is usually at room volume anyway. Can I do my laundry on Sundays? All right, but I'm still allowed to do my laundry on Sunday, aren't I? To tell the truth, there is no universal answer to this question. It really depends on the wash machine noise and the level. So you got to be worried about your wash machine. You can't. What if you got one of them one of them old ones that still work? Cause I have an old one and I'm not getting rid of it so it can be quiet. I don't live in a flat though. I live in a house. But I mean, just think if you live in an apartment and you got an old washing machine, you can't do your laundry because the neighbor going to tell on you because your washing machine make too much noise. I mean, how we going to be able to stay on this earth, y'all? How? Who ain't ready to go home? I don't know what's wrong with y'all. So it might be worth checking with the neighbors to see if they can actually hear the rumble of your washing machine or not. Your neighbor's gonna be the police. Your neighbors are your police. You can't even do what you want to do because your neighbors are going to be policing you. Can I still take showers during quiet hours in Germany? Don't worry. Of course, you can still do your everyday routines after 10 p.m. and also on Sundays and public holidays. You can flush the toilet, take a bath, or a shower at night as usual. What happens if I ignore the quiet hours in Germany? First things first, chances are that you'll cause a rift with your neighbors. In fact, by disturbing the peace, you also risk sanctions from your landlord or you may receive a warning. So, this is from the site housinganywhere.com in Germany. Um, so, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so terrible. But I just want to share this first story with you. And it's like if you, this particular site is, in Germany, they have like these Airbnb things where you can rent rooms, apartments, and whatever and stay in them. So this is like, it was like a helpful um, site for tourists or people who travel and want to come stay. So you should be researching if you're going to another country. Hopefully, you are not foolish enough to just go someplace and not know what's going on, but I know plenty of people who go places and don't know nothing. They just be going. So that was a helpful tip to those people. So I wanted to share this story with you. The next one is from Insightful, and this is a blog post, and this is from back in 2022, December 2022. I'm sorry, September 2022. So it says news. Employers in Germany must now record working hours. So if you're going to work in the future, when they institute these national Sunday laws, they're going to know if you work or not because your employers are going to tell on you. And they're going to have digital surveillance. You're going to have probably apps on your phone. You know, now everybody got some type of digital something. You may punch a code in to do time, punch in, punch out, or you may have a card where you swipe. But everybody's going to have some type of way because there's going to have to be like a national system for reporting. And so it's going to have to go digital. So let me read this. It says the German Federal Labor Court ruled that employers have a duty to record these employers' working hours. Here's what we know right now and what you should do. Last week on September 13th, and this was in 2022, the German Labor Court handed down a decision that German employers have the duty to record their employees' working hours. This decision shouldn't come as a surprise, given that it is completely in line with a ruling that the European Court of Justice made 3 years ago. In existing German law, employers must track working hours that exceed 8 hours per day or are on public holidays and Sundays, their day of rest. However, as it stands, many employers don't comply with these standards since the risk of being audited by the authorities is low. With the new decision, German employers will be required to track working hours more broadly. In short, employers must implement a comprehensive working time recording system. Fancy word for digitalization. The German government hasn't yet weighed in on the decision of the court about whether there will be new regulations which will minimize the burdens and clarify requirements for employers. At the moment, only a press release of the ruling has been published. While some employers may immediately implement time tracking software following the decision, others may choose to wait for more details before doing so. Here's what you should consider while awaiting further word on new regulations. One, and you have to keep in mind this site is for employers, not employees, but it's a good uh, segue into what is to come so that you understand this is happening in Germany, but this is what is going to be happening all over the place. It's a model, a data point. Let's say that. Here's what you should consider while awaiting further word on new regulations. According to the court, the obligation to record working hours applies with immediate effect. Technically speaking, this has always applied. Employers who already have a time recording procedure in place might not need to implement any changes. If the Federal Labor Court adopts the ECJ's approach in full, employers in Germany will need to keep track of daily and weekly working time, including rest periods and breaks. So, y'all know what rest periods are. Rest periods are like actual rest, but it's also like the holidays and Sundays. Exact requirements when it comes to the type and manner of this tracking aren't known yet. We can assume that they'll differ depending on the size and type of the companies. So the next steps, as full details on the decision remain to be seen, there isn't any concrete information on whether time can be tracked manually or automatically, or if the companies will need to use software or not. However, for employers eager to stay ahead of the curve, the simplest solution to this issue is adopting software. There we go, that's the digitalization that can track time and attendance in an automated way. Not only will this remove the potential headache of implementing a new tool in a hurry when a final government ruling comes down, it will also eliminate human error in the meantime. So you can't mess up somebody's time and lie. They want you to have software because it's probably going to be tracked to or tied to a cell phone or some type of digital device. Your employees won't have to log their hours manually. You'll be able to record your hours clean. So, what does this mean for other countries? Could this new decision in Germany trigger a cascade of similar laws in other countries? Time will tell, but given the continued evolution of labor laws around the world, there's every chance other countries will follow suit, especially Germany's fellow countries in the EU. So, for any forward looking companies around the world, adopting an employee time tracking software may be an expedient way to preempt scrambled mandatory adoption in the future. So I didn't click on this link. I'm just going to do it. This I wasn't planning on going here. I just want to see what they're going to say. What they're advertising. They're probably advertising something. Looks like it. Yes. Uh, Look, and it says incredibly easy to install. I don't want nothing from you people. Incredibly easy to install on Mac and Windows. So anyway, it's just advertising something. Um, so this next article I'm going to share with you, it is from Deutschland DE, and it came out in 2018, December 13th, 2018. So it says, for humane working conditions, do companies respect human rights and how can this be proven? Germany has launched a unique system of monitoring. Companies with a base in Germany are supposed to guarantee that they respect human rights throughout their production chain. This is stipulated by the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights. But how can this be proven? The first country in the world to do so, Germany, has now introduced a broad based system of monitoring to check the extent to which companies meet their responsibilities. So remember that video that I showed you with Dr. O, that just recently came out this year. They were talking about monitoring. But actually, they put this plan into place in 2018, which was 5 years ago. What is the objective of the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights? By 2020, now keep in mind this article is from 2018, at least half of the country's 7,100 companies with more than 500 employees are supposed to have anchored the five core elements of human rights due diligence in their business processes. Upholding human rights thus becomes a not insignificant challenge for management. A declaration of principles of the respect of human rights, procedures to investigate any adverse effects on human rights, measures to avert potentially negative effects and to check the effectiveness of these measures, reporting, and complaints mechanism. So you see how they move. They talk about monitoring, but they tie it to human rights. So they're going to make you feel as though, yay, somebody's looking out for me. The government is looking out for me. When have none of these Gentile governments look out for anybody? They don't look out for their own people. They don't look out for nobody. So there's no need to think suddenly they've evolved and they're going to perfect monitoring and observing the rights of humans. What they're talking about monitoring, which is taking away rights, taking away privacy rights and freedom of movement, and saying that they're respecting human rights. It's like a full statement, all in one, if you think about it. But most people won't think about it in that way because these people are masterful with their words. And so you have to really be thinking deep about the things that they say. And I kind of learned this from reading public policy and understanding how government speak. It's like it's really double speak. That's what all of this is. At the end of the day, all of it is double speak. If you understand anything about the art or the deception of double speak, then you will go into everything suspicious. You'd have your tinfoil hat on at all times, looking for conspiracies. And I do that because I have a business background and I took marketing, so I understand the deceptive practices that are used to sell stuff to people. And so this is one of those things. It's kind of like a marketing ploy slash propagandist double speak piece. But you have to really think like this now because the truth is very difficult to come by. So anyway, we want globalization to be sustainable. There's that word. And fair. There's another word. Respect for human rights play a central role in this. That's a quote from Foreign Minister Heiko Maas, whoever that is. I don't know who that is. Okay, so it says, where might human rights be violated? For example, when people work in dangerous buildings and factories without protection against fire, when they are exposed to toxic chemicals, when they receive insufficient pay, or when they are permitted to join trade unions, or when they are not permitted to join trade unions or other groups that will represent their interests. So you see how they tie it to things that we really care about, that we want, that we feel as though if we go work for somebody else, we should be protected. Our life should be protected. And things should be fair. So that's what all of this at the end of the day is going to be tied to. So it says human rights can be violated when people's livelihoods are jeopardized. However, for example, during the extraction of lithium, the raw material needed for batteries in electric vehicles, the large amount of water that this requires may conflict with the fundamental right of local residents to drinking water. Rather than abandoning such commercial activities, however, solutions need to be found. So they're going to tell you their right to get you a lithium battery is more important than drinking water, but we're going to compromise and come to some kind of deal so that we can get our money. Y'all can have something to drink. You see how crappy these people are? But anyway, let me continue. Rather than abandoning such commercial activities, however, solutions need to be found. In return for accessing the raw materials, the companies concerned could engage in a dialogue with the local population and undertake to ensure their water supply. What does that even mean? As a result, both sides will benefit. This is a good sentence of double speak right here because they didn't say nothing. How many of us know when big companies come to town, little people rarely have the opportunity to stop them because the politicians have already been paid off, and so they'll do some concessions like, oh, we're gonna they're going to contribute to the schools, or they're going to build some parks, or they're going to do whatever. Then they come in and they dirty up your water, they dirty up your soil, they make hazardous toxic chemicals and give your community cancer, high rates of cancer, contaminate the waterways, the rivers and the lakes and the streams. Just nonsense. So to say that companies are not concerned. It should not even be companies because the people are the ones concerned about having drinking water. You don't need a company for anything. We could live off the land and be just fine. But you see how they put the interest of the companies over the people in this sentence. It didn't start with the people. The people are not even mentioned in the sentence, actually. It says, in return for accessing raw materials, the companies concerned could engage in a dialogue with the local population and undertake to ensure their water supply. They don't care if those people get water. This sentence just lets you know they don't care. I'm telling you, this is double speak. They don't care. Okay, so it says, how is NAP monitoring carried out? So in November 2018, Germany's federal government wrote a letter to companies in which it encouraged them to take part in the monitoring process. So you have to understand that this monitoring is not just your regular monitoring, but also is tied to human rights. And so you have to know who's behind all of this. And I can't say, but I just want to read. I'm just going to go down here because this is the most important part. Are other countries following suit? In a globalized economy, working conditions can only be improved if everyone does their bit. And above all, the leading industrialized nations in international forums such as the G7 and G20, that means America's involved in this. Germany is therefore fighting for human rights at the workplace and for sustainable supply chains, and is promoting a common approach within the EU. So this is coming. What I want to emphasize though is the monitoring piece. That's a theme. You're going to be monitored, and they're selling it as something about human rights, but it's really not about human rights. It's really just about good old fashioned monitoring. So I wanted to share this site with you because it's another site about let me move this. This site is called the Business and Human Rights Resource Center. And so it also talked about Germany monitoring of the National Action Plan and on business and human rights. So they have this timeline, and I just found it interesting because they are still monitoring this stuff as of today. I will include a link to this, but it's really important because it's tied to the sustainable goal, the UN sustainable goals, sustainable development goals. It's so long. I'm so tired of saying it. Okay. So this is a site about their labor laws, and I wanted to show you what they said about. It had something on here about Sunday Sunday work. Here it is. Sunday work. So this site is called Replicon. I'm sorry. So, and it is a site about labor laws in Germany. And so here it says employees may not be employed from midnight to midnight on Sunday. An employee shall have at least 15 days off in a calendar year. In cases multi-shift operations with regular day and night shifts, the beginning or end of the rest on Sundays and public holidays can be moved forward or backward by 6 hours if the work is suspended following the start of the rest period. Compensatory rest. If the employees are employed on Sunday, they must have another day of rest as compensation, which shall be granted within a period of 2 weeks, including the day of employment. The employee shall be granted rest on Sunday, a public holiday, or on a compensatory rest day immediately after the daily rest period, unless there are technical or other reasonable reasons. And so they have a Working Hours Act. So I just wanted to share that a lot of places already have this on the books and it's coming our way. So this article came from the Vatican, and it is dated. Oh, it doesn't have a date on here. But anyway, it says the EU bishops call for nations to protect Work Free Sunday. The bishops of the European Union and the European Sunday Alliance are urging EU leaders to protect synchronized free time, which most nations traditionally observe on Sunday. Synchronized free time should be a priority in the EU social policy agenda, according to the European bishops and other organizations. In a joint statement published Wednesday on the occasion of the International Day for a Working Free Sunday, the Commission of the Bishops' Conferences of the EU and the European Sunday Alliance urged political leaders in Europe to protect synchronized free time in most European countries traditionally on Sundays. This they say is especially relevant in times where the has accelerated existing challenges of digitalization by intensifying work and extending working hours. So they caused the problem. They caused two problems. And now they're going to bring you the solution. So you see how far back they work? So they put these laws in place, or they at least have them ready to shoot out whenever they need them. And then they create the chaos. And then they bring the order. So just imagine from 2020 to here it is 2023. I don't know when this article came out because there's no date here, but I mean they've been it's see what's been going on. So the alliance says this increases stress on workers and affects their work-life balance and compromises the health and well-being of others. So there they go tying the health piece in, which they need to have your digital health records. Work-life balance, they tying in work. So you need to rest. They're talking about you're tired and stressed. You're tired and you're stressed. What you need to do, you need to rest. And then they're tying it to Sunday. They make it, they don't have any religious connotations in this, even though it's the Vatican news. There's not really anything religious about this. So it says, according to the network, which includes more than 100 national Sunday alliances, trade unions, employers, its organizations, civil society associations, churches, and religious communities in the European Union, a full day of rest per week is indispensable to recover. So you can see government, church, and business, the money changers, are all in bed together now. So if you think that you're going to be saved by anybody, if you still believe in politics, if you still believe in any of this, you are going to be so disappointed. Nobody's going to save you, okay? The day of rest. According to the network, which include, oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. Indeed, they say a common day of rest truly increases well-being and protects, and I'm sorry, and brings a positive effect on health. So they're tying health to this. And so you'll see these themes all throughout. Only during a common day of rest is it possible to pursue volunteer work. Now, what you gonna go to work for? Take a day off of work for to go volunteer to work? Really? Does that sound stupid or no? Civic engagement, joint social sports or faith related activities, family time, and more generally, to spend time together, the statement explains. Ooh, so flowery. EU bishops also recall that humans are social beings, and for many of them, their health requires more than individual time off at scattered random moments of the week to spend alone. A day free of work, recognized by tradition or custom, is therefore essential to disconnect literally and figuratively. So we should be doing that anyway on the Sabbath. That's what the Sabbath day of rest is for. You ain't supposed to do nothing. You shouldn't be cooking because you're supposed to be saving your manna from the day before so you can eat it the next day. You eat leftovers, leftover manna, or leftover chicken and rice, or get you some Popeyes and throw it in the refrigerator. Don't get Popeyes. Make your salad or do whatever you're gonna do, but you don't have to prepare anything because you should have something from the previous day. Uh, just like everything that you're supposed to do related to Sabbath, it's not. They tell you to do the opposite. So it's just interesting to see the connection. This is in particular the European network calls on the European Commission to align its upcoming proposal for a directive on a right to disconnect with Article 2 of the Council of Europe's Social Charter, which already requires a weekly rest period, which shall, as far as possible, coincide with the day recognized by tradition or custom in the country or region concerned as a day of rest, which around the world, because of Christianity, has been Sunday and Catholicism. So, again, most people going to walk right into being marked by the beast because they already participate in Sunday worship, Sunday day of rest. So it's people gonna be like, oh yeah, I get to be off Sunday, yay for me, not realizing that this right here is when it's time to make the choice. It's time to come out of the church, and most people are not going to do that because they think we crazy. But anyway, this article did come out in 2021. You see, it's 2023. So it's crazy. Just crazy that all this stuff has been planned out. The last article that I want to share with you is something that I found from the Washington Post, and it pretty much does it expresses the sentiment that I have. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it talks about how Sunday laws aren't about Christianity; it's about economics. So it says, despite their religious origins, Sunday laws have long been a matter of business and politics, and that's basically what it is, and control, because it's how the beast system controls people. It is how Rome gets to come back into power. They got run off, and so now they're trying to slowly, quietly, gradually reclaim its original place and go back into the same activities they were doing before, which is uh, punishing people for not adhering to their day of rest. That is what's coming. So, this is a freelance historian writing this article, and it's also from 2018. Very interesting, though, because all these things came about between 2018 and 2021. And here we are in 2023, and Germany has had 5 years to do their Sunday law pilot project. So they have ample data to share with the rest of the world to roll this out. And so I just find it ironic that the evangelical church, who is also in bed with the Pope and also in bed with them folks, them little hats over yonder, are helping to roll this out here. So it just reminds me of that scripture where, it talks about how saints will uh, help Satan and think that they're doing God a favor. Like that's what's happening right now. So anyway, this says last month, Indiana residents gained the ability to buy packaged alcohol on a Sunday for the first time in more than 2 centuries. Idiosyncratic Sunday laws regulating alcohol, commerce, and personal behavior have peppered American history since the nation's founding and are commonly viewed as relics of bygone religious puritanism or hypersensitive moral codes. After all, Indiana's laws began in 1787 with the direction that the Christian world should abstain from any work except that of necessity and charity to honor the Sabbath. You hear that? But it didn't take long for the Sunday laws to become tools for various political interests, which may or may not harbor any religious conviction on the matter. In fact, those most committed to Indiana's Sunday ban were not religious groups, but the state's powerful liquor store lobby. It long safeguarded its members' ability to remain closed on Sunday while their competitors, like grocery store and convenience stores, remained open without being able to sell booze on those days. Lifting the ban required striking a deal with big box retailers to protect liquor stores, virtual legal monopoly on selling cold beer. The prominence of economic concerns regarding such laws should come as no surprise. In Indiana and other states, Sunday advocacy or Sabbatarianism began as a tool to root out vice and immorality, but wound up serving economic and political purposes above all else. And that's what's going to happen now. That's what you see happening. While the Christian origins of the laws remain apparent, they only apply on Christian Sabbath. After all, over the past 2 centuries, the laws have largely lost their overt spirituality. So you see how everything is all tied up. They got Christianity with Sabbath, and Sabbath don't have nothing to do with Christianity. So, I just wanted to show you um, just how confusing everything is and why so many people are going to be lost because they're going to take these marks. They're going to see nothing wrong with not working on Sunday. They're not going to see anything wrong with going out to eat and going to the movies and doing all these things on Sunday. And they're going to be afraid of the persecution that comes from that. So just a lot of stuff is going on. It's crazy. Just get ready. Last thing, early Sunday laws throughout the country invoked religious values to control behavior of ordinary citizens, who lawmakers feared tended toward drunkenness and greed. Then what's the difference today? Using the government to ban business transactions, recreation, or alcohol consumption on the Sabbath. See how they say Sunday and Sabbath, they say it together like it's the same. Like they don't understand that Sunday is not Sabbath, like most people. So it's just very sad. So it says using the government to ban business transactions, recreation, or alcohol consumption on Sabbath encouraged church attendance, which is what they want, and responsible commerce, they believe. And so when you observe the Sunday day of rest, they're going to encourage you eventually to worship on Sunday. You're going to be worshiping somewhere, even your house. They're going to know you might go to a place of worship. But if all the churches are going back under the Pope and are participating in apostasy, where everybody going? According to a 1797 Massachusetts law, the prohibition gave workers a necessary day of rest from burdens of labor. Blocking alcohol consumption further curbed drunkenness and criminal behavior. So I noticed that their day is about controlling the behavior of people. I mean, they've always said it is no hidden secret. So it also demonstrates how church and state have been together. And they're not really talking about this in this article, but you can see it is just all over the place. So, organized Sabbatarian politics, often led by evangelical Protestant ministers. Evangelical. Ramped up in the 1800s, progressed. ramped up as the 1800s progressed. They successfully pressured politicians into passing Sunday restrictions on commerce and recreation around the country, though enforcement varied greatly. When Sabbatarians failed to pass the laws they wanted, they pressured business owners to voluntarily abstain from operating on Sundays. The largest Sabbatarian cause of the era, however, was the Sunday delivery of mail. Congress first enacted Sunday mail delivery in 1810 in hopes that efficient communication would better integrate the far flung Western territories into the national economy. Some evangelicals, believing this betrayed the nation's manifest commitment to Christian principles, including the sanctimony of Sunday rest, began campaigning against the law. And so between 1828 and 1831, they sent over 900 petitions calling on Congress and the post office to fulfill the nation's obligation to the fourth commandment to keep Sabbath day holy, keep the Sabbath day holy. Their campaign failed and Sunday delivery continued in the short term, but economic shifts came to the rescue. The railroad and the telegraph soon integrated national commerce without sole reliance on the mail, allowing many local jurisdictions to quietly end Sunday mail delivery during the 1850s and 60s. So, anyway, I want to share all this with you to just show you where we were, where we are, and where we're going. Keep prepping, keep praying, keep the most high because the Sunday law thing is coming. This has been a 5-year pilot project in Germany. Y'all know most of them folks who are coming up with all these plans. Got to be careful what I say. Who are coming up with all these plans for these goals and objectives tied to the new thing that's coming. They're from that area. So you have to understand why it's important that you stay on top of this. It's going to be national, but a lot of the stuff is already instituted locally and in your states. So you need to check and see what's going on in your state. What are the evangelical leaders doing in your state? Because there's some movements happening, I'll say that. And when you start seeing them happening in your state and we've already started seeing the talk this year about we got to get back to being a Christian nation. You know, they allowed this alphabet agenda and the feminism and all this stuff to get out of hand. These gender wars, I firmly believe they are operations. I do not believe they happen by accident. I think everything is intentional, especially with our community. And then you throw race into it, it's all just chaos so they can bring order. People gonna after they get through whooping our behind with all this stuff they got coming, people gonna be so glad to be at home resting on Sunday. They don't even know what's coming. So y'all just stay awake. Don't fall asleep. I know y'all tired because I'm tired. I'm ready to leave here. But we got to endure to the end until our bus ride comes to get us, till the bus driver comes to get us, until the bridegroom comes for the bride. We must endure to the end and we must keep watch and we must sound the alarm. We must sound the trumpet for the people. So I'm trying to, but it's real hard. They're making it hard for us. But we got to do what we got to do. So again, keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High. Figure out your plan for how you're going to escape this, because y'all, we got to figure it out. All right, this is Marley